Curse of the Dark Forest. The Dark Forest has always been a place of mystery and superstition, shrouded in a thick shroud of mist that seemed to cling to the trees like a living being. No one dared to enter the forest after dark, and even during the day the forest was eerie and foreboding. But despite the warnings of the locals, a group of young adventurers decided to bravely explore the forest's secrets. They were on a mission to find a hidden treasure that was rumored to be hidden somewhere deep in the forest. As they went deeper into the forest, the temperature began to drop. The air thickened with mist, and the trees seemed to loom over them, approaching from all sides. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound. It sounded like the howling of the wind, but the wind was not tangible. The sound grew louder and more persistent until it became almost deafening. The group continued to work, determined to find the treasure. But as they moved deeper into the forest, they began to feel a strange fear. The trees seemed to take on a life of their own, twisting into bizarre and disturbing shapes. As they searched, they came across a clearing with a lone tree in the center. It was unlike any tree they had ever seen, with twisted branches and blackened bark that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Suddenly, a voice was heard, echoing through the trees.
"Beware of the curse of the dark forest,"
it warned.
"Those who seek treasure here will face a terrible fate."
The adventurers hesitated, but their greed was too strong. They rushed forward, determined to discover the treasure they knew awaited them. But as they searched, the forest seemed to come alive. Branches twisted to grab them, roots reached up to trip them, and the wind grew colder and fiercer. Stumbling and falling, they realized they had made a grave mistake. Finally, they found what they were looking for, a chest full of sparkling jewels and gold coins. But as they reached out to take it, a tree in the center of the clearing let out a deafening scream. The temperature dropped to 0, and the adventurers felt as if their bones were turning to ice. They heard a voice in their minds telling them that they had awakened an ancient curse that would prevent them from leaving the forest alive. And with that, the trees began to close in around them, strangling them with their branches and dragging them into the ground. The adventurers screamed and fought, but it was in vain. They decided their own fate, searching for treasure in the cursed forest. And when the last of them disappeared into the ground, the temperature began to rise again, and the forest returned to its still, silent state. The cursed forest claimed its last victims, but the story of their death quickly spread among the local villagers. After that, no one dared to go out into the forest, and at night, stories of the curse were whispered quietly around the campfire. But there was one man who was not afraid. His name was Samuel, and he had always been fascinated by the stories of the cursed forest. He studied the lore and legends, and was convinced that he could lift the curse and return the treasure that had taken so many lives. Samuel entered the forest alone, his heart pounding. He knew he was risking his life, but he was determined to uncover the truth behind the curse and end it once and for all. As he made his way through the dense undergrowth, he felt a sense of unease growing within him. The temperature was steadily dropping, and a fog began to rise around him. He could hear strange sounds in the distance, and he knew he was not alone. Suddenly, he came upon the same clearing that had claimed the lives of previous adventurers. The cursed tree towered before him, and he could feel its malevolent presence weighing on him. But Samuel was not afraid. He walked up to the tree and placed his hand on the trunk. The bark was cold to the touch, and he could feel a faint pulse beneath his fingertips. He closed his eyes and focused his mind, exerting all his willpower to lift the curse that had so long tormented the forest. To his surprise, he felt a jolt run through the tree, a sign that his efforts had not gone unnoticed. For a moment, the forest was silent. Suddenly, the tree let out a shrill cry that echoed through the forest. Samuel staggered back, his ears ringing as the temperature dropped to an unbearable level. But he did not give up. He continued to focus his mind, channeling all his energy into lifting the curse. Slowly, gradually, he felt the tree's power in the forest begin to wane. Finally, there was a deafening crack, and the tree split in half. The temperature rose again, and the fog began to dissipate. Samuel knew the curse had been lifted, and there in the center of the clearing lay the treasure that had claimed so many lives. Samuel approached it cautiously, but he knew that he had succeeded where others had failed. As he gathered the jewels and coins, he knew that he had not only lifted the curse of the dark forest, but had also earned the respect of the local villagers. He emerged from the forest a hero, his heart filled with the knowledge that he had overcome his fears and emerged victorious. End of story. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this story